Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of James. This episode, I'm going to be recapping the Funniest Person in Cincinnati competition hosted by Go Bananas Comedy Club. And it was a pretty cool competition. I wasn't a part of it, but I do want to give you my brief history about comedy and where I started doing it and where I'm at with it now. So let's get into that. So in 2022, I moved to Denver, Colorado, just to try something new. And while I was in Colorado, I took a comedy class at the Rise Comedy. And my teacher, Christy, awesome teacher, shouts out to Christy. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I enjoyed just learning about it. And I love comedy, guys. I absolutely love comedy and what it does for people and making people laugh and just everything about comedy. Me, I'm a creative person. I like being creative. And I like doing different things. Like, look at this podcast. I built this podcast. So what happened was I took a comedy class, did a 5-minute set at the end of the comedy class, and then, did open mics around the city in Denver. And I sucked, like every brand new comic does. Sometimes you get the one person that just naturally gets it. It ain't me. I'm the kind of person, if you hand me a script, you say this, do blah, 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 I am on it. I will master it. No problem. But being creative and writing jokes is a whole different ball game for me because there's just that mental block there. But something you work through. Right now, I'm not doing comedy. I haven't been on stage, I'd say, in about a month, maybe a month and a half, because I'm working a lot. I'm doing 10-hour days. While the overtime's there, I'm going to get it. So, let me get a sip of Yuengling lager here. Let's get Yuengling to support this sponsor this podcast. But in this week's vape is a Greek bar. It's okay. It's cool. I like the name of it. Capricorn Dragon Melon. And on the back of it says, "May the pulse be with you." But the one thing, the batteries are just not good. Anyway. So I did open mics, and just sucked at it. And then tragedy struck. I had to move back to Ohio, so I did. And then I found a open mic at this place called Motor Pub. That was in Cincinnati. It was the first open mic I ever did. And then I was like, this can't be the only open mic here. So I got on a website, or I just Googled it, comedy open mics near me. And then I found a bunch, and I found Go Bananas Comedy Club. I never knew that there was a couple comedy clubs. There's Funny Bone and Liberty, and then Go Bananas Comedy Club. And I never knew it. So I just started going to open mics whenever I could. And guess what? I still sucked. But there was one open mic that I'll never forget that I did my set, and this one woman came up to me and she was like, "You're hilarious." And I rode that compliment a couple days. I was smiling ear to ear. Funny enough, I took Dad to go see Ryan Sickler at Funny Bone Liberty, or the Liberty Funny Bone. And his opener, a comic by the name of Lee Kimball, hosted that open mic where I got that compliment. And I was sitting there talking to him. I'm like, man, he looks familiar. He looks familiar. So I went down there a couple more times, and then I just finally asked him, like, dude, did you open for Ryan Sickler? He's like, yeah, I took your picture. Like, okay. All right. So, and Lee, if you ever listen to this, man, God bless you, dude. You've been so cool to me. Thank you for being cool to me, dude. So, and as the time went by, I slowly just started working more. Because I was like, man, I suck at this. Maybe it's just not the right time for me. You know, maybe it's just not the right time. I mean, I'm still writing jokes. I'm still writing material. But I'm just not getting on stage. And you got to get on stage to get better. It's not going to come to you. I get that. So, I really do want to get back on stage here in the next, I don't know, whenever God tells me to get back on stage. So, but Go Bananas Comedy Club. Awesome comedy club, man. Awesome comedy club. Let me get a hit off this nicotine pen. So, there's this competition called the Funniest Person in Cincinnati, where a bunch of amateurs sign up. That was like, man, what was he telling me? Like 250 people signed up, and like 110 people, 111 people made it. And then I went to the finals. And the finals, the contestants were Gabby Lowry, which Gabby, shouts out to you. You were cool to me too. Tequila shots that night was awesome. That was a fun night. You and your girlfriend were very cool to me and very kind, and we had a good time that night. So shouts out to you. Jim Howell. I hope I pronounced this name right. Osaya Dwyer. Caleb Nash, Ian Squints, Cody Walker, Harrison Butler, Corinne Turnbow, Spencer DeMolke, and Nick Hidgen. And so we're gonna start with Gabby. Gabby was really funny. She opened the final showcase strong. Very good set. And I'll always be there to support Gabby because she's been cool to me. Jim Howell, I saw him. God, what was it? Actually, no. Let's back this up. I went to Cody Walker. He was in one of the. I think he was a semifinalist or a couple shows before semifinals. But I really wanted him to get into it, or him to go, so I went and supported him. But I saw Jim Howell the same night. He was funny. He was really funny. One of those comics that was just like came out of nowhere. And it was really cool. Really cool to see a set. Osaya Dwyer. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It was okay. She was funny. She made me laugh. I don't know her that well, but she was funny. She was real funny. Let's see, Caleb Nash. Caleb, I've had a few conversations with him, and he was really cool. He had a good set. Ian Squints, he had a good set. I never really talked to him. Let me just state this now. If I talk to you and know you and think you're cool, I'm always going to be there to support you. You know what I mean? Like if you get to know me, I'm the kind of person you want in your corner. Cody Walker, he hosts an open mic called Keep It Open down down on Ludlow at the Tap Room. Awesome open mic. Been there plenty of times. Met some great people. Shouts out to Max Jensen, L. Murphy. Those two. Love you guys to death. And miss you too. Harrison Butler. Shouts out to you, Harrison. You've been cool to me too. He hosted an open mic at Trillions on Route 42, and shouts out to Trillions. Very cool bar. It was awesome. Sip of beer there. But yeah, Harrison's set, really funny. He is a funny comedian, man. I really like Harrison. Cool dude. Just had a really so funny, man. Corinne Turnbow. Now, when she got on stage, she blew the roof off the place. I really wanted Corinne to win. I really wanted her to win. She was really funny. Corinne. I think it's Corinne Turnbow. She was so funny. Oh my God, she made me laugh so hard. Spencer DeMolke, he was good. He had a good set. Made me chuckle. It's hard to get me to laugh. A lot of people tell me that I meet at these open mics, like, you don't laugh at anything. Like, I'm laughing on the inside, but you really got to go hit my dark humor. You really got to hit the dark humor with me to get me to laugh. But Spencer DeMolke was good, and then Nick Higdon. I want to say Higdon. I pronounced it wrong before. He was good. He made the place laugh. He was good. But all these comedians have their own special spice, I believe. Like every comedian does. Me personally, I don't know which way I want to go, man. I don't know if I want to do dark humor. I don't know if I want to do storytelling. Right now, I'm just writing material. I'm just writing little things down. I'm just writing ideas, concepts. The latest one that I wrote down was having a conversating with songs. I don't know how I'm going to write it as a bit, but we'll write it as a bit. We'll figure it out along the way. And I think that's very, I'm just writing ideas down and whatnot so I can turn it into something. But yeah, Corinne Turnbow, I was really hoping she won it. I was really wanting her to win it. She was hilarious. She made me laugh as hard as I could. These things are, you can invite people to these things, and then those people that you invited voted for someone else because they thought they were funny. It felt like to me that this comedy show was a bringer show, and the more people that you brought won. But in the same sense, it's the material that resonates with you. Who I voted for was Gabby Lowry, Harrison Butler, and Corinne Turnbow. Those were the three I voted for. Because those three resonated with me very, very easily. I loved all their sets. I don't know who the Jim Howe was, but I marked him down first, erased it, and then I went to Corinne Turnbow. And I guess that's just how it goes with these things. You know, some people can come to these shows with 50 people and be like, you know, Jim Howe brings 90 people and still doesn't win. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it can go. You know, I hope that these shows are based on how good you make the audience laugh and how you resonate. And, you know, man, you ever heard this one analogy where it's like, God tells you to dig a hole, but you till the garden, you cut the grass, you get the fence fixed, you redo the porch, but you didn't dig the hole. That's how I feel comedy is for me, you know. Dig the hole, James. Dig the hole. And the hole is comedy. And it's like, you know, I really just got to start digging that hole. That's it. That's all there is to it. I just got to start digging that hole, man. And sip a beer. Shouts out to Yuengling Lager. You guys are the best tasting beer. I just got to dig that hole, you know. And whatever that hole is for you, it could be podcasting. It could be, you could start being an Olympic cyclist and win Tour de France. You know, it is whatever you feel like your purpose is. Just don't take it off me. You know, I feel like the hole I have to dig is comedy. But I'm not digging that hole, man. I'm not digging it. I'm just working a lot. I'm writing material, but I'm just working a lot. While the overtime's here, while the getting's good, let's get it. You know, I got some things to pay off. I got some debt to get rid of, and then, you know, we'll go from there. You know, that's maybe in the next month it could change. I don't know. Couldn't. We'll see what happens, man. We're just taking it day by day. But shouts out to Go Bananas Comedy Club. You know, when I first went to Go Bananas, I was like, I didn't know that Cincinnati had such a huge comedy scene. They really do. They really do. And all the open mics. And shouts out to all the hosts, to all the open mics, and all the comedians I've met along the way. Shouts out to you all, because you guys get up on stage. You keep doing it over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? But, you know, shouts out to Go Bananas. They're an awesome. You walk into that place and it's all the pictures that perform there. Joe Rogan, Jim Gaffigan, this one guy who's a Cincinnati native, Michael Turner. He's going to be coming here in September, so I got tickets for him. I want to go see him. Funny story about him. When I was in Denver, I had a podcast called Stoned Out. And I hit him up. I'm like, dude, you're from Cincinnati? I'm living in Denver now. Like, he was like, dude, I was just in Denver. It's like, next time you come to Denver, man, let's get a beer. So, never got that beer, but I hope to get him one when I see him. So, who else? Lee's on the wall. Lee Kimball, Ram Barnaclough. Annie Letterman, you know, some of my favorite comedians. And it's just an awesome comedy club, man. It's an awesome comedy club. I really enjoy going to that comedy club. The thing about comedy is that, like, if you can't laugh, you're going to cry. And I'd rather laugh. And I think just having that comic mind as to like you can turn any tragic thing into a joke. And that's where you're going to succeed as a comic. You know what I mean? That's where you're going to succeed as a comic. And I hope to get that one day. For me, it's that creative barrier, so I signed up for an improv class, so I hope that can help a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see, guys. I every time I go to work, I just have that feeling like I should be on stage, like I'm missing out on something. And that's that feeling that you need to have if you're going to pursue a passion or pursue something that you feel like your higher power is calling you, the universe is calling you, or God is calling you to do. And that's where I'm at. And, at some point it's going to break. And I'm just going to say, to hell with all this. Comedy's it. Stand-up comedy is where it's at. I don't know. Maybe the universe is saying, something else. But deep down in my soul, every time I miss an open mic, I'm like, man, you mean I got to work for a 401k in the hopes I got to, 30 years from now I get to retire, maybe get a gold watch, probably just get a handshake and say thanks for your service. Like something like that just doesn't sit well with me. It used to. I'll be honest, it used to. It used to. And then at some point I was just like, there's something more to life than just this. I drum, I practice drums, and when I've gotten to my first apartment, I got an electric kit. I made an Instagram. I was like, let's do this. And then I was just like, I'm not feeling this. And, shut it all down. I moved to Colorado, gave the electric kit to my old drum teacher, and started comedy. But I think about it every day, guys. Every day. Like, man, how do you write a damn joke? How do you put the hook, the punchline, all of this? But back to Go Bananas and back to the funniest person in Cincinnati. Apparently this competition has been going on for 25 years. And I really want to win it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really want to win this, but I got to put the work in. I got to do the open mics. I got to get a tight 5 in. And I got to just kill the crowd with laughter. And where I start is going to open mics. I'm going to open mics, but until work says we gotta, the overtime's good. The overtime is good. I cannot lie. But Go Bananas, man. Like it would be really cool to get one of my a headshot of me up on that wall, just to say, hey, I performed here. Like Sam Talent did his special at Go Bananas, and that really is interesting. Like, how does a guy from Denver do his special at Go Bananas? Like, shouldn't he do it in Denver? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? Anyway. But the funniest person in Cincinnati competition is something that is so awesome. So awesome to see these comedians get up there and put their all into it, and just, God, I love it. I love to see it. I'm on my second Yuengling, and I'm feeling pretty good. So let's get Yuengling to sponsor this podcast. But comedy, I grew up on the greats. George Carlin. He was the first big comedian that I ever saw, and really was like, I stand-up comedy, you know. And then there's, the great Richard Pryor, Bernie Mac, Eddie Murphy. But George Carlin always hit it for me. Always hit it for me. And I love George Carlin. And rest in peace, good sir. But Go Bananas Comedy Club. If this club ever hears this podcast episode, I hope that you guys are my home club one day. And I hope that we get to have a long-lasting relationship. If not, I'm always going to be there to support the people that I care about. And yeah, you guys, I just cracked my knuckles. Sorry if you heard it. Comedy is one of those things where it's, the public speaking is like the number one or two thing to be the easiest way to get rich. But stand-up comedy, you got to do it for the love of the game, not just for the money. The love of the game. And you could do it for 40 years and finally have that big breakthrough, but you got to do it for the love of the game. And if you can't, you can't. I'm in that situation where it's like, I'm not giving up on it. Maybe it's just time to take a break. Maybe it's just time to say, hey, let's get into a different avenue to get back onto that avenue. Let's take a detour, as they say. And I'm really looking forward to this improv class, because it's like I need to break out of that shell, and I need to get up there and just be like free flowing. So if I can free flow, we'll see what happens with this class. But Mom, thank you for telling me about it. So I signed up for it, and sip a beer. But yeah, you guys, this was a fun episode. I enjoy comedy. I enjoy everything about comedy. I enjoy how it makes me feel, what it does for me. It's definitely saved my life, because there's been some tragic times that I turned into a joke. And just remember this: if you can't laugh, you're gonna cry. You are definitely gonna cry. And Lee, Ryan, and Blake, and Phil, and Elle, and Max, you guys, core group of comedians that I like here in Cincinnati, and hopefully you get to be a guest on this podcast one day. And hopefully we get to, work together at some point. And love you guys. Deepest parts of my heart. Love you guys. And I love you guys for hanging in for another episode. And I want to thank you for joining me on the Mind of James podcast. You all have a good day, and I will see you on the next one.